Good morning and welcome to our first segment of Cooking with Bakhita. Today joining us we have Mustica family led by Mrs. Mustica, Luciano, Dante, and Gianni. Today we're going to be cooking Salvadorian Papusas, and Mrs. Mustica is going to take us through how we do this. So before we begin, can you tell us a little bit about papusas?
Well, it's a traditional dish that we make back home. My kids seem to enjoy it. It's very easy to make, yeah, that's about it.
That sounds great. And easy to make really is the key and one of the things that we want to really showcase with our parent community. So, boys, what do you say we get started?
Yeah.
Awesome. So let's make our way over here. I love the approach here, and it looks like less is more. So before we get started, if you could just quickly explain to me what some of the ingredients that we are going to have in these Salvadorian pupusas.
Okay, so we normally use maseca, which is a corn flour, so about a cup of that. We mix it with a cup of water, warm water. And then to make the filling, we use 2 cups of shredded mozzarella cheese, 2 tablespoons of butter, and half a teaspoon of salt.
Half a teaspoon of salt. Awesome. Okay. So, is there any particular order that we start to blend the ingredients in, or do we just kind of?
We do. So we make first our flour. We mix it with our water. Go ahead, Luciano. Good job. Then we mix 1 cup of warm water, slowly.
And warm.
Yes.
Key.
Well,
Okay.
room temperature.
Awesome.
Okay. Then what we do is we knead it with our hands. Mix it all up. All good. So it's like a dough, right? And then it just kind of absorbs all the water.
The technique that you're using, you said kneading, and it looks like your fingers are just spread, and you're making sure that the dough is consistent all around.
Yes, to make it nice and smooth, you just move your fingers around it, kind of into a ball, and just knead it until it's nice and smooth.
Great.
Okay, and then for our filling, we are going to mix our shredded mozzarella cheese, which is 2 cups of shredded mozzarella cheese, into the bowl. Okay. Yes, all of it. Well, let's try to use the spoon for that to scrape it out. Good job.
Good job, Dante. Oh, that's excellent.
Then we are going to mix our 2 tablespoons of butter. And in this case, I've used the basil butter,
Okay.
just because for our family, we prefer that.
Great. Well, any other butter work though?
Any other butter would work, yep.
Beautiful.
Go ahead. You can pour it all in. Good job. And then we just add half a teaspoon of salt. And then we just mix it all together. Make sure all the cheese is pretty much covered with the butter as well. The salt. Now the salt is just to add a little bit of, like the saltiness, right? Because the mozzarella cheese is kind of bland without it, for this dish anyway.
You had mentioned earlier when we were talking and setting up that there would be an opportunity to sneak in some vegetables for the kids. Would this be the time to do that?
This would be the time to do it. So any vegetable that you can grate, like green peppers, red or yellow peppers, you can add in, just grate a little bit of it and just mix it in.
Awesome. I know I could use that definitely for my kids at home.
Oh yeah. So right after we mixed everything up and we have our dough ready, we turn on our stove, and you can use any pan, flat pan, like a pancake griddle would work too. We let it get warmed up, and what we do is, as that's getting warmed up, we take our dough and we separate it. Now this recipe makes for 4. So we separate it into 4 little balls, and just with your hand, you just knead it a little bit to make it into a nice smooth ball. And what you do is you take your thumb and you put it right in the middle of your ball, and you knead it to make kind of like a little cave you're making.
Almost like a little
so you're making like a
dish,
little, like a little pottery dish, Make it nice and deep so that you can take your filling and fill it. And you close up the bowl like that, cover all the cheese inside, and then go back to making it into a bowl again. Nice little ball. Nice and smooth. I always set aside a little bit of water and just kind of moisten it up a little bit so it doesn't get dry. Because once it gets dry, it doesn't really turn out that great. So just a little bit of just regular warm water, and just knead it in. And then you start flattening it out just with your hands. You can also use a flat dish. You know, if you put two little, I usually use 2 plates and just kind of with the other one flatten it out to make a little flatness of it that you have to make it into a tortilla. Or you could just use your hands. It's very easy, it's not hard. And just as you're going around, you flatten it out. And then what you do is you grease the pan with just a little bit of olive oil or vegetable oil, very little, just greasing it so the tortilla doesn't stick. Okay, so you'll know they're already done by all the browning around it. You have to make sure it's all around, even on the edges, on both sides. So I would say about 2 to 3 minutes, just flip them over and you'll get the end result. So once we have flipped them and they're all brown on both sides, we take them out. They're nice and cheesy now. We take them out and we put them on a plate, and then we accompany it with a cocido that we make back home, which is just cabbage, onions, a little bit of vinegar, and water.
Well, the finished product looks absolutely delicious, and I really want to thank the Mustica family, particularly Anna, Dante, Luciano, and Gianni, for sharing with us the Salvadorian Papusas, and I can't wait to sink my teeth into one or if not all of them. Thank you guys.
You're welcome.